Hello guys and welcome back. I'm Steven from Tech Overseas. In this video, we are going to talk about JavaScript Map and Set. Now, before we get started, what is a set and what is a map? A set is an object that allows you to store a list of values. It's kind of like an array with one key difference. Each value in a set must be unique. Now, for the map, a map is a data structure that allows you to store key value pairs. And unlike objects, keys in a map can be of any type. It can even be of type object. And that's what we are going to see right now. So in the beginning of this video, I'm going to show you map and set, and I'm going to show you how to use them. Then I'm going to show you some advanced tricks and advanced method on how to use map and set. And then we are going to cover some real life scenario on how to use map and set in your code. And we are going to use React for this. Like I said in the introduction, a set is an object that allows you to store a list of values. So let's go ahead and create our first set. So I'm going to use a set of fruits so it's easier to understand. So this is how you actually create a set. You have to use the constructor keyword set. Now think of a set as a collection where every item must be unique, okay? It's only a list of value, it has no key, it's only values. Now to add values to our set, we can use the add method. So let's go ahead and add an apple, for example. We can say add apple, and you can see that now our set has one element. Now we can say fruit set.addBanana, and our set now has two elements, apple and banana. Set automatically prevents duplicate value. So if we try to add apple again, or if we try to add banana again, it won't appear twice. So let's also add banana and see that both apple and banana are in our sets. So let's go ahead and say add apple and add banana. And you can see that the set hasn't changed. It has the same number of elements and it has the same elements. To check if a value is in the set, we can use the has method. So this will return true if the value is in the set. Otherwise, it will return false. So we can say fruit set.has, and we can ask if it has apple, true. If it has orange, false. And now we can ask if it has banana, and this is also true. To remove a value, we can use the delete method. So let's go ahead and remove apple and confirm that only banana remains in the set. Now we can say delete apple, and we can see that now our set has only one element, and it's the banana. So you can get the number of elements in a set using the size property. And so let's go ahead and say fruit set.size, and you can see that we only have one element. Now let's go ahead and actually add again the apple that we removed, and let's try to log the size now. You can see that now the size has two elements, because we have apple and we have banana. Sets are iterable, which means that we can loop through them using a for of loop. And if we do this, we can actually console log each value in the set. So let's go ahead and say for constant fruit of fruit set. And we can see that we have two fruits, apple and banana. So we have loop over our fruit set with a simple for of loop. And this way we were able to retrieve each element in the set. If you need to remove all the values from a set, you can use the clear method, and this will empty the set entirely. So let's go ahead and say fruit set.clear, and as you can see, it returns an empty set. There are three iterable methods that exist on both map and set. However, these methods aren't so useful on the set, and this is mainly because a set is only a list of values and it has no keys, but I'm still going to show them to you. Since we have cleared our sets, let's go ahead and actually add some values again to our set. So we are going to add the apple and we are going to add the banana. So now we have a set of two elements, apple and banana. Now what we want to do, we actually want to retrieve the elements. And for this, like I said, we have three methods. We have entries, keys, and values. So let's actually use the entries. So we can say constant fruit set, constant entries equals fruit set.entries, okay? And now what we are going to do, we can actually loop over the entries and retrieve all the values from the fruit set. So for constant, we don't need the key value because we do not have key in set. We can say for constant entry of entries, console log entry. And now you can see that it's actually returning to us an array of value, value, and value, value, because again, a set does not have keys. The second method is a bit misleading because it's the keys. And like I said, a set does not have key. However, in the context of a set, keys, it's actually the values. So we can say constant keys equals fruit set.keys. And now you can see that when we console log the key of the keys, we still get the same value, which is the value of each element in the set. Now the third one, it's actually the values. And now when we retrieve the values from the set, we get the same exact result as the key of the set, and we get apple and banana, which are the values of the set. We can also use an array method, which is the for each method, in order to loop over the elements in the set. So we can say fruit set.forEach, and here we can, for example, just say fruits, and then we can console log the fruit, and we still get apple and banana. So we have seen the main method for interacting with the set. However, there are some advanced methods for sets. And these advanced methods actually allow you to compare sets between each other. So let's actually create new sets. So we are going to say constant set equals a new set, and we will keep our fruits, and we say banana, apple, banana, orange, and we create another set, which is set B, which has banana, orange, apple, which is exactly the same. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this one, and I'm going to say cherry. So there are two differences in these sets, and it's apple and cherry. And thanks to this, we are going to be able to use our advanced method in order to find the similarities and in order to find the differences. The first advanced method is symmetric difference. So symmetric difference, it's a method that helps you find unique element between two sets. And this is very useful when you want to compare data and identify the differences. So what you can say set A dot symmetric difference of set B, and you can see that it returns a new set with the differences between the two sets. So now we can see we have apple and cherry, and it also works the other way around. So we can say set B, symmetric difference set A, and it also returns to us a new set of the differences between the two sets. Another powerful method is intersection. So intersection will return a new set containing the element that exists in both sets. So this is very useful when you need to find common element between two sets. So same thing, we can say set A dot intersection of set B, and you can see that it returns banana and orange because banana and orange are similar on both sets, and it also works the other way around. We can say set B intersection set A, and it's going to return to us a new set with the similarities. The union method combines all the elements from two sets into a new set, and this is particularly good when you actually want to merge data without duplicates. So here you can see that banana and orange are similar, and we are actually going to do a union between the two, and you can see that now we have apple, banana, orange, cherry without duplicate. Again, it works the other way around. We can say set B union set A, and we are going to have the exact same result. Last but not least, the difference method. So the difference method will create a new set with elements that are in the first set but not in the second. And this is very useful when you actually want to find elements that are unique to a single set. So now we can say, for example, set A dot difference set B, and you can see that we have apple. And if we do set B difference set A, now we have cherry. And so how does it work? You can see that it actually returns a new set containing all the elements in this set which are not also in the argument. And so this means that we are checking the set A, and we are checking which element from the set A does not exist in the set B, and this is apple, and which element from the set B does not exist in the set A, and this is actually cherry. Now that we have covered the set, let's cover the map. So let's delete everything. And like I said in the introduction of the video, a map is a data structure that allows you to store key value pairs, and unlike objects, keys can be of any type, and we can also save keys that are objects. Now let's look at map, and let's start by creating a map. We are going to keep our fruit, and we are going to create a fruit inventory, okay? So it's no longer a set, now it's actually a map. So same thing, how you create a map, you use the constructor keyword map. So to add a key value pair to the map, we can use the set method. And so we can set, let's say that for our fruit inventory, we are going to set a name for the fruit, and we are going to set an object which is the quantity and the price. So let's go ahead and say fruit inventory.set. And we can actually say we have apple, okay? And then we have an object, which is price and quantity. So we have a price of 0.5 and quantity of 100. Now we can do the same for the banana. So fruit inventory banana. And this time we can say we have, let's say, so this is 0.3 and this is 50. Let's just change the numbers, okay? So 0.3 and 50, cool. To retrieve a value from the map, we can use the get method, for example, using the key. So here, if we actually want to retrieve the price and the quantity of the apple, we can say fruit inventory.get, and we get the apple, and same for the banana. So we can see that apple, price 0.3, quantity 50, and banana, same thing. You can check if a key exists in the map using the has method. So same thing as with the set. If the key exists, it returns true. If the key does not exist, it returns false. So we can say fruit inventory dot has apple, it's true. Now has orange is false and has banana is true because orange does not exist in our fruit inventory, so it returns false. Same thing as with the set, we can get the size property of a map and it will return the number of key value pairs in the map. So if we do fruit inventory.size, you can see now it's returning 2 because we have 2 elements in our map, which is apple and banana, with their corresponding object, which have the price and quantity. Maps are also iterable, and it means that you can actually use a for-of loop and you can iterate over the map and log each key value pair. So let's take the example of our fruit inventory, and we are going to say for a constant fruit details of fruit inventory, we are going to log the fruit and the details. So what you can see, you can either this structure like this, and you actually get the fruit and the details, which the details is the object containing the price and the quantity, or you can just say constant fruit of fruits like this, and when you actually log, you get apple, and you actually get an array of the key and the value, the key and the value being the object that is set in the fruit inventory. Now, same thing as with the set. In order to clear all the entries from a map, you can use the clear method. So we can do fruit inventory.clear and it returns to us an empty map. So if you remember when we spoke about the set, there were 3 iterable methods: entries, values, and keys. And so in the case of a map, it really makes sense to use these because a map is made of a key value pair. So let's use our entries. Let's say constant entries equals fruit inventory entries. And so now what we can actually do, we can do the same constant entries of entries. We log the entry and you can see that the entries is actually the same result as using the normal for-of loop. It will return to us an array of the key and the value of the item in the map. Now we can do the same for, let's say, the keys. It will only return to us the keys of the map, which are in our case, apple and banana. So if we log the key, we can see that we have apple for the first and we have banana for the second. Now for the value, I think you get it. We are going to get the value of each item from the map and we are actually going to get the object. So we are going to say constant value of fruit inventory values. We console log the value, and the value is actually the object which contain the price and the quantity. So in this case, it really makes sense to use this function. In the case of a set, a bit less. Now, same thing as for the set, we can actually use the for each method in order to loop over the values and the keys of a map. However, there is a difference between using for each on a map and for each on an array, and I'm going to show you. So if we say, for example, fruit inventory dot for each, we can get the fruit like this, and what it's going to give us, it's actually going to give us the price and the quantity. So it's going to give us the value of each item of the map. And the reason is because the for each method does not work exactly the same on map and on array. And as you can see on the map, in the callback function, it returns to us the value and then it returns to us the key. So if we want to have the key, we can say, for example, value, and then we can have the key, and we are going to console log the value and the key. And now if we log again, you can see that we actually have the value, which is the objects of the element in the map. And then we have the key, which is obviously the key of the element in the map. Now I'm going to show you very quickly how does a for each loop work on an array. And so let's say that we have our fruits, which is a simple array of apple and banana. Now if I do fruits dot for each, you can see that now our for each on the array is a bit different. We no longer have the value and the key, we have the value and the index. So here, for example, if I say index, now if I console log the fruit and the index, it's actually going to return apple 0 and banana 1. So do not confuse the for each on a map to the for each on an array. It's a bit different. So same thing as for the set, the map also has some advanced methods. So let's see the first one. Let's actually create an array of fruits, and each object in the array is going to have a type and a name. So for the type of the first one, we are going to say citrus lemon, citrus lime. And for the third one, we are going to change. We are going to say type berry and name strawberry. So now we have an array of 3 objects. So the group by method allows you to group items in a map based on certain criteria or based on certain property. So we can actually transform this fruit array into a map. So what we can say grouped by type. This time, we are not going to actually use the group by method on the array itself, but we are going to use the group by method on the constructor keyword map. So we use the constructor keyword map and we say map.groupBy. And so the group by function, it's actually taking a list of items, and then it takes a callback function where you actually specify which property you want to group by. So you get the function. And so here you can see that each item is actually a fruit. So we are going to say fruit, and then we return fruit.type. So here we are saying group by this array and group by type. And so now if we actually console log the group type, you can see that we end up with a new map. So from the array, we created a map, and our map now has two keys, citrus and berry. And each key is actually an array containing all the elements with the same type as the map key. So now let's actually see some use case of using map and of using set. So we are first going to cover the map, and we are going to use map in order to manage dynamic styling for different components based on the state or based on the type. So let's go ahead and create first element, which will be dynamic styling.tsx. We are going to export function dynamic styling, and for now it only has an h1 and a paragraph. Let's import this in our page like this. We are going to start our server, and we are going to go on the localhost 3000, where you can see we have NextJS and we have dynamic styling. So how do we actually use the map in order to set our styling? So we can say constant styles equals new map. And so now we are going to create an array with three different styles. So the first one is going to be primary, okay, and it will take an object, and this object will actually be passed in the style of the element that we are going to use. So we can say, for example, background color blue, okay, and we are going to say color white, okay. The secondary, we are going to say black, and this is gray like this, and the last one is going to be danger, and it's going to be red and white. This is good. Now we are going to create three items, so we can say items, and we can actually have a list of items. And for all of these, we are going to give it an ID of one, name, style, primary. This is good. Okay. Now we are going to actually loop over our items, and what we are doing, for each item, we are going to get the styles where the property styles match. Okay. Now, if I save, you can see that we have the styling of our three components. So we have item 1, which has blue and white, item 2, which has gray and black, and item 3, which has red and white. And this is because what we're actually doing, for each style, we actually get the key which map the style. So here we get the primary key, so primary. Here we get the secondary, and here we get the danger. And this is how you can very simply use the map in order to style an element. So now we are going to actually use map in order to handle localization of a website. So we will have our localization map. So it's going to be a map, and it's going to be an array. And this array will actually have a key of the actual language, and the value will be the name of the actual language and the flag of the language. So like this, we can have many. Now we are actually going to handle the default language. So the default language and also the current language, for now, it will be English, okay? So we are going to also handle the function to change the language. And so whatever language we pass, we're going to set the language. Now we can actually return. So we are going to actually return a div where the h1 is going to be the name and the span is going to be the flag. And also we are going to have a button, and on click of a button, we actually want to change the language. However, we do not want to change the language to English. We want to randomize the language. So let's say change language. Okay. This is button. And we are going to create a variable in order to randomize our language. So we are going to say random language. And for this, we are going to use the keys method of the map. So we are going to say localizations.keys. Okay, just like that. And now we are going to actually create an array from the keys, just like that. So I'm going to close this to have more space. We are going to filter whatever key. So what is happening here is we are creating an array from the keys, and the keys are English, Spanish, French, Dutch, Italian, Portuguese. I'm filtering whichever key is actually the current state of the language, so we don't actually toggle twice on the same key, which won't work. And we are selecting a randomized number from the actual size of the array of the list of keys. So we are just looping over all the keys and we select a random number. And now what we are actually going to do, we are going to do change language of this random language, and we save. The error that you see now is because in NextJS, we have to use clients whenever we are using use states and stuff like this. So we save, and now you can see that we have English and we have the English flag. And whenever we click, oh, we have a bug, and this is because, oh yeah, of course. So this is wrong because this is taking the localization size and it's actually taking all the keys without the key that we are actually using. So we are actually going to say constant available keys, and we are going to say this, and we are going to filter the key this, and here we are going to available keys. We are going to change this, and now instead of localization.size, we're going to say available keys.length. Okay, so now what we are doing, we are actually looping over the available keys and no longer looping over all the keys. So if I save, you will see that if I refresh the page, we will have English with the English flag. Now if I click change language, you can see that there is no longer the bug, and we are looping over all the different keys. So French, Portuguese, Spanish, French, Dutch, and so on. And this is how you can use the power of the map in order to create a very simple localization system. Last but not least, I'm going to use set in order to build a small debounce mechanism where we are going to debounce the user input by storing the inputs and only processing unique and validated entries. So let's go ahead and actually create our debounce system. So what we are going to have, we are going to actually save the inputs in a set. So we are going to say inputs, set inputs. Instead of using a string, we are going to use a new set. Okay, so this is not going to be a string, and we are going to import use state. Okay, now we are going to have a handle change value, and what is going to happen if the value is in the input, we are not going to set it, otherwise we are going to set it. So what we can actually have, we can have constant handle change. Okay, and this is going to be event react HTML input element. I'm going to remove the auto completion like this, and we can say constant value equals event.target.value. Okay, value. Okay, so I'm going to say if the input doesn't have the value, then we set the input, and we are not going to set it like this. We are going to use the function, and we are going to get the previous value, and we are just going to create a new set where we are going to put the previous value, okay, and we are going to add the new value, just like that. And so this argument type string, and this is because here we are going to say that it's the set, and it's the set of string. Then now we no longer have the error. We can save. Now we are going to actually return something, and it's going to be a div. Let's say that we have our input, which is a type text. We have to close this div, just like that. Okay, cool. Now we can save. So now you can see that we actually have our input. For the key, we are not going to get the input. We are just going to get the index. Normally, you shouldn't use index. You would rather use IDs, for example, but in our case, it doesn't really matter. So what is happening right now? We are actually having an input where every keystroke will actually trigger the handle change. And if the value does not exist in our set, it will add it. Now let's actually test it. And you can see that it say, if you want, right now, it's actually saving every single keystroke and every single input that is passed in the set. Now, if I remove and I type the exact same thing, you can see that it's not persisting because these value already exist in our set. And so this is how also you can create a very simple debounce method. So if you want to go to the beach, you can see that it keeps adding because these new letters didn't exist in our set. And that's it, guys. I hope you like this video about maps and sets. Now we have covered pretty much everything from all the methods to advanced concepts to real use cases. If you have any questions or if there is anything that you'd like me to cover next, let me know in the comment section down below. And until then, take care and happy coding.